Alright, we're not going to waste any time today, folks. Welcome once again. It's Wednesday. Hold on a second, I'm just going to close this window on my other browser here. Okie dokie, and we're back. It's Wednesday, it's 7 o'clock. We got a deck to brew here. This week we've got everyone's favorite Battlewise Hoplite. Now, this was a card that was suggested to me by my main man, Steven. And it's an interesting card. So I think like heroic decks or like spellslinger aggro tempo decks are ones that I really enjoy playing. I think there's a lot of really tough things to balance when you're trying to keep this deck like in a casual realm where it's not going to make like games kind of miserable for everybody. Obviously, if we're trying to build it like in a more competitive metagame, you should pack it with protection, pack it with kills, interaction, and all this stuff, protection, interaction, and just lean in like real heavily on this thing to like kill people dead. But when you're playing more casually, you don't want to put people in situations where it's just like, oh, I can't afford to let this thing hit me or else I'll die. That's just not like a fun place to be in on the receiving end, and it's kind of miserable for you as the player because your commander's just gonna, people are just gonna play out of fear and just kill this thing over and over and over and over again. So you kind of have to spread things around a little bit. Can't lean too heavily on this. The way that I like to build these decks is much more heavily on its sorceries rather than auras. I think like the will they won't they dynamic, right? Like when you attack with it with mana up, is a really fun game, like mini game to play in combat. See what people are gonna do based on hidden information, rather than just having like face up a Battlewise Hoplite with like 6 auras on it. It's just it's a little more boring to me. So we're gonna go that route, I think. So without further ado, let's start with some low-hanging fruit like we usually do. Got our beautiful primed canvas here. Got a wonderful visual spoiler Battlewise Hoplite here. We're just gonna go ahead and I don't even need Scryfall for these cards because I play these in a lot of decks. They're all blue spells that provide evasion. Artful Dodge, Enter the Enigma is a new one. Just makes the thing unblockable and cantrips. Distortion Strike is a cantrip too. Because if you think about it, it gives your thing +1/+0 unblockable, and then it draws you another Distortion Strike that you can cast for free. And then Slip Through Space is another one. This is just like a pretty solid suite of cards. Just makes your thing unblockable. These two just straight up replace themselves. These two you get 2 uses out of. So there's you get a lot of mileage here. There's another one. Once you start going down the list, Shadow Rift is another one, gives you creature shadow, and the cantrips. Defy Gravity is another one that I like too. This one just gives flying, but it's an instant that has flashback. So, this is just kind of like basic stuff. Just ways for you to get like push through when you need to, because you still need those. As much as I'm like hemming and hawing about like leaning too heavily on these cards and like punking people out of the game too early, which I think is generally a bad way to go about it. You do need ways to punch through and like make those big plays, and these cards are good at that. And like you get a lot of mileage out of these cards. So I want to get those out of the way first. Next, what I'm going to do is we're going to get as many other heroic creatures in here, simply because we want to be able to spread things around a little bit. If somebody, Doom Blazer Battlewise Hoplite or whatever, and it dies, we don't want to just have like a bunch of idiots that don't do anything or no other creatures. So like, there's a few of these that I really like. The ones that get counters are obviously very good, which we'll add just immediately. Like a Crow and Skyguard, Trailblazer, and Wingsteed Rider. These ones are just pretty solid. Yeah, the Valiant ones, we'll get to those. I like the Valiant ones a little bit less, but it depends on the card. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, like the white Valiant creatures, because Valiant I think is just like a Boros mechanic and Blue Burrow. There's maybe like one, there's like a Catholic Commando lookalike, and I think one other one that I kind of like as well. We'll also like probably delve into some prowess stuff too. Okay, so we got like the big guys. These ones just get counters, Wingsteed Rider, or Chrome Skyguard, and Trailblazer. Warwing Siren is the one blue card that gets counters. I like this card just because it's just a 1/3. 3 toughness is big game. And Wave Crush Triton is my favorite. I'm going to talk a bit about this card. Something I say every single time I stream, messing up people's combat math is insane. Tapping down their blockers will win you games. This thing just freezes stuff when you target it with things. It's really powerful. I've killed a lot of people with this card, and you will too if you play it, I promise. The rest of these, Tethos High Priest, we're not really doing anything where we're going to be abusing this card. This is a card that's like best when you're abusing it, otherwise it just kind of sits around. Elite Skirmisher is a maybe. Obviously much less powerful than Wave Crush Triton. Like, this is a 1/4 versus a 3/1. Like, this is not something we're going to be doing much attacking with. Chorus of the Tides is the only other one that I'd probably play if we need a playable, but I want to kind of keep it to the core stuff that I know is good and successful. Let's check out the Valiant stuff. Yeah, just this one. Nettle Guard, which is good. You know, make it a 3/3. Destroys the thing. We'll play that one. Because, like, it's good to have that effect, and if we can make it a 3/3, it's not so bad. It just doesn't, like, grow, you know? Alright, let's look at some prowess stuff. There's a few on the top of my head that I know I like. I'm just going to search my mana value. I like the more efficient stuff generally, but I have no problem going up a little bit higher if we get a little better mileage out of things. Probably will go up to 4 mana because we want to keep our mana open to chain spells. And if I'm going to play like a 4 or 5 mana spell, it's got to be like pretty good. I'm thinking of something like, not something that like immediately impacts the board, like, you know, Shipwrecked House. I'm thinking more like Cruel Witness. It's a 4 mana 3/3 flyer, and whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you surveil one. Something like that. Like, card selection is really important for these decks because we're doing a lot of cantripping. We're gonna have access to the top of our library a lot of the time. So let's start with like the 2 mana guys, and we'll see what we have here. These are good. I like 2 mana 1/3 prowess. Like, this template exists in red. Sanguinary Mage, I think, is the card. There's also a dwarf from Brothers War. But again, like, 3 toughness things are good. They don't die in combat nearly as much, even if you aren't like tricking them out with stuff. And then the flyers, the 3 mana flyers are good. Wind Scout, Mistral Singer, Wing Commando. Like the 2/2s are obviously better, but I'll probably play all 4 of these. And then Gesture Thief is just like a banger. It's like a Scroll Thief, just deals combat damage, draws you a card. So people are going to want to block this, and you'll get some good trades in combat for people that are scared to give you a card. So like some amount of 2 mana ones are good. The ones, Jeskai Elder is a great one. When it deals damage, it loots. Jeskai Sage, again, is another one that I like because it has a death trigger. It just has more texture to combat. It's a more fun card. Like, offering this up in trade is a really cool thing to do. Lets your opponent have some agency. It just makes for better, like, multiplayer play patterns when you factor in your opponents as well as like what you're doing. And I think that it's like a really important thing you have to keep in mind with decks like this is you don't just want to have just an untargetable, uninteractable thing that just beats people to death, because that's not fun for a lot of people. That's just like, I've been in a lot of those games and like on both ends, and I hate just sitting there just feeling hopeless, just getting beat down by something I can't kill. Vice versa, like, you know, if I'm the one with the thing, it's just boring. It's just, you're just going through the motions. So diversifying and adding like more cards that, like this thing that does, you know, has an ability. It's not going to be attacking all the time, but it can. You know, the freezing stuff. This thing offering like an interesting combat texture. This thing having a trigger. Like, these sorts of things just help diversify the games. Secret of the Way is another cool one. Shout out to Brad Drag V. This is his favorite card of all time outside of Land of War Elves. And then we'll get these flyers. The evasion stuff is really important. Jeskai Wind Scout, Jeshin, Thief, Wing Commando. So prowess is like, you know, it's obviously not as resilient as these heroic abilities because they don't get counters, right? But we can tempo people, and we can turn, like, you know, 1 distortion strike into like 3 or 4 extra damage based on what we have on the board. And Mistral Singer. Okay, so that's the 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. Oh, Nibbleless, that's the other one. Whoop. Nib of Dusk. Is that going to be enough to get me there? Sure is. All right. 1 second. Go away. I was being stared at from a crack in my door. The dog has also been deposited in here. Okay. Anyway, oh yeah, and Just Guy Student. I like that one. Just things that can like survive combat. This card's good. Okay. We may come back again, like if we need playables. I'm just trying to get like a basic structure. Usually that's how it starts, and then I end up with 100 cards. I was like, oh, let's call it a day. Speaking of which, let's just throw lands in. This is probably like a 35 lander. We're gonna be drawing a lot of cards. We'll be drawing into our lands a lot. So we could probably go 34, but yeah, we'll check that too. Let's do 35. Let's do 13 island. Oh, island. I can't even spell anymore. Island. Don't want snow covereds. This is a budget format. Planes. Then we'll add some more of these. So add more. Not that many. 12. No, 11 of these. 12 the other one. Oh no, one more of these. Sorry. There we go. That's 25. LOL. 5 more. I'm not smart, if you haven't figured that out by now. If you've been watching this every week, like I know all of you have, I'm just not the smartest. Okay. Let's look at spells and care about non-creature. Yeah, this is where we're going to find what's his face, Cool Witness. Spell Fist is another one. Synthesizer. Yeah, these are good. And Sky Theater Strix. Yeah. That's probably the extent of what I want to do with it, though. Okay, so anyway. Cool. Got this. Elusive Spellfist. Ichor Synthesizer. This one's sweet because it's just a 1/3, but whenever you cast a creature spell, it gets a counter. When it has 4 counters, it becomes a 3/3 unblockable. What else did I say? I said Sky Theater Strix, yeah. Okay, that's good. This is decent. 19 creatures for a deck like this is a pretty good place to be. Oh, we've got spells. Okay, so the other thing to keep in mind about decks like this, that happens a lot, is when it comes to like using your spells for heroic targets, this is almost always going to be the best thing to be doing, is targeting Battlewise Hoplite. So it's going to be tough to take advantage of like looking up Trailblazer, Wingsteed Rider, Waycrash Triton, these cards, the other heroic spells. So we need to include a significant amount of cards that just have multiple targets. There are some great white ones. We'll get to those, but I want to get the blue ones that I know first. Phantasmal Form. This is the first one. This card I love quite a bit. Until I turn up to 2 target creatures, each have base power, toughness 3/3, gain flying, become illusions, and then you cantrip. So you get 2 triggers, make 2 things 3/3s. That's on top of whatever counters they have. And then they also get evasion. So like cards like this are great. Ghost Form is another one. It just makes 2 target creatures unblockable. Just simple stuff. Tandem Tactics. I've blown people out with this card more than I'd like to admit. Up to 2 target creatures, each get 1/2, and you gain 2 life. Stuff like this is great. And just make sure up to instant and sorcery. I build decks in the dark now, Clay. I have forsaken the light. I hope my search worked. There we go. 57 cards. Okay, that's fine. We're not doing that, not doing that. Ghost form. All these things target other people's creatures, which is what I'm not particularly interested in. We've got Phantasmal form. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything here. Redeem is a good one. Let's throw that in there. Welcome, Bill. Too much do. I got a whiff of that. It was just a little too much do. A little too much. Unbound Potential is another one. Because this thing will proliferate us. That's another kind of tertiary synergy that we can get into. I think that might be it. All I really care about, at least. Will of the Naga is a really great. Yeah, he's on the floor chewing on a bone with his little tab. You can kind of see him over here. Will of the Naga is great. We're going to be casting a lot of spells. Delving is good. This just freezes 2 things for 2 mana most of the time. Again, like, these are things that I'm not too concerned about right now, but we can come back to that. Yeah. And then what we'll do is we'll do damage prevention spells. Actually, we want instants that do this, but let me find the one that I'll use as an example here, Pollen Remedy. So these cards are really great in heroic decks because the cards that template like this prevent the next X damage that would be dealt this turn to any number of target creatures. You can target 3 things. So you can get like 3 separate heroic triggers, at least 2. These things get a lot of mileage. Plus, they're all instants and they save your things in combat. So these cards are great. Pollen Remedy is one of the best ones, so I'm going to throw that in here. Pollen Remedy, there we go. Remedy, straight up Remedy is the other one that I like, but it's just as 5 damage, so you get like max targets. Orim's Cure is a good one, but we're not going to do that one just yet. Where is it? Embolden. There we go. This one has flashback. 4 damage divided among any number of targets, plus there's flashback. So we're going to play Embolden here too. Embolden. These cards are surprisingly good. I think it's not something that a lot of people think about when they picture a card like this, like Battlewise Hoplite, a Crone Skyguard, like these heroic stuff. But like, I can't tell you how many times I've just been in a position where like I have all of these cool heroic effects on the board, and I have a spell, and all I ever want to do is cast it on my commander, and it's just like the rest of them just rot. So these are great ways of getting around that. I'm just going to go through here and see, make sure I'm not missing anything that I want to put in. I love you, Don Charm. We may just come back for you. I don't think there are many more. I think most of the other ones are just like single target. Yeah. Remedies, obviously 5 targets. Yeah. Let's just throw Remedy in there, why not? Just so many triggers. Why is Ideas Unbound in here? When did I put that in here? Not sure where that came from. Okay, anyway. Alright, so what do we got? We got some blockable stuff, got more evasion, got some multi-targeting stuff, got good creature count. Let's look at just some instants and sorceries that target. Mostly prioritizing cantrips. I think that's just like the most important thing. A lot of the time, you just want to keep like the cards coming in. There's gonna be some like raw card draw stuff that we'll play, but for the most part, we're just gonna be kind of nickel and diming off the back of like single target stuff that just replaces itself. Because we're gonna, I mean, we can cut our land count down a little bit to account. Oh, there it is. Hey, buddy. There's Ollie. Hey, buddy. Showing your face. I'm sorry, I'm not paying attention to you. I have to entertain the masses. Where'd you go? All right. Some protection spells. I don't want to overload on protection spells, honestly. again, like that's where you get into that position where you just have an unassailable threat that just kind of deflates the game. So like it's good to have some ways to do it. In fact, I'd probably just do counter spells instead of like something like blacksmith skill. If you do arcane denial, like some of the good ones that that you know draw people cards, like the oops I'm sorry apology cards. This one just gives your opponent a card, you get a card. Arcane Denial is good. This is just more flexible. Obviously, it's like less mana efficient, but it's a little more flexible than something like Blacksmith Skill, where you're just not like holding it in your hand waiting to like hose somebody or blow someone out. These are, you can just use these to do whatever you want. You can still use it to blow someone out if you want, but you just get a little more mileage. The game is a little more dynamic when you have access to cards like these to serve as your protection pieces. And what we'll do is we'll also play something like Keep Safe to counter a spell that targets a thing we control. It draws a card too. Maybe we'll throw in Confound as well. Yeah, these cards are good. I like these cards better than just like 1 mana protection. It feels less spiky to me. It's more versatile, obviously, for reasons that we've covered. Anyway. Yeah, oh yeah, the double ones. What is it? The double spell cards, second spell. Yeah, we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that. Let's see. Oh, rebound stuff is great. Let's play Artful Maneuver. Rebound is cool. It just gets free stuff. Free stuff. I like free stuff. Free stuff is fun and cool. Ah, there's a lot of these things. Oh, you know what we'll do? We'll play a bunch of these. There's gonna be a ton of blue cards on this deck. What are we at? Like 68% blue cards already? Behind the mask. We don't play these cards. Call it core. These are suited cards. I believe I used these in the build of Tomebound Lich that we did a few weeks ago. They just alter the base power toughness of your creatures. So they're like just like pump spells. Making our 1/1 a base power 4/3 plus a counter, so we just make it a 6/6 or 6/5, I guess, whatever. You know, it's pretty good. I'm not gonna play all of them. There's a bunch, but we're focused on a few. Maybe we'll play them all. I don't know. Water Wings gives hexproof and flying, and Serpentine Ambush makes it a 5/5. It's the best rate on any of these cards. This seems okay. Let's do that. You know what we'll do? Let's just search for the ones. Target, draw, target. Yeah. We're not going to call to heal any of our creatures, that's for sure. Okay, so we're just looking for like some characters. Defiant Strike is an iconic part of these strategies in standard and other constructed formats. So we have to honor the Defiant Strike, put it in here. Just gives power, draws a card. It's a good one. There's just so many things. Mana value. Show me the mana value. Oh yeah, here we go. Cloak of Feathers. Leap will play 2. These are 2 cards that just give flying. Cloak of Feathers is an instant from Portal. There were no instants in Portal. Leap is from Stronghold. Each creature flying draws a card. Got plenty of good targets for that. We're not going to be tapping our own creature to draw a card, that's for sure, I can tell you that. Sapphire Charm is interesting because we can use it offensively. Maybe we'll do that. Carom. These are just the cantrips, mind you. Like, there's a bajillion cards that are like good in these spots. Sapphire Shapecraft is another one of those pump spells that we already have in. Makes it 4/3 and then replaces itself. That's kind of the big thing. You just want to keep the cards coming. Keep them coming. You don't want to running out of cards. Like that's something that happens a lot with decks like this. Like spell slinger decks is you kind of chain together a bunch of spells to kill somebody, and then all of a sudden you have no cards left. You can relax. You can relax. I'll let him out of the office in a second here. Just want to finish going through here. Yeah, now we're up to the point where I don't want to pay this much mana for these cards. I don't want to pay that much. It's too expensive. Too expensive. Oh, you know what we'll do? We'll do Hidden Strings. We'll do Last Thoughts. No, maybe not Last Thoughts. Hidden Strings for sure, because this is just ways to power out heroic triggers. It's not as good with like the prowess creatures because you don't get the bonuses for combat damage, but like the floor on this card just gives 2 creatures vigilance and it untaps lands, you know. This card's very effective. What's our color balance right now? 70-30? Yeah, that sounds about right. We have to adjust our lands quite a bit. Alright. Now let's just look at some cheap targeting spells. Just the cheap ones. Because again, like the goal is to just chain together a bunch of things. This one's interesting because the punch weapon can give flying if we time it. I think that's interesting. I really like Addendum as a mechanic. I know it's not a big hit, but this is a card that just makes you make some interesting decisions. It just gives +2/+2, or if you cast Dream Main Phase, it gives the creature flying as well. So it's pretty good. I like it. Ajani's Presence is a great protection spell. Probably the only dedicated protection spell that we'll use. Because it has Strive. Strive is cool. Strive is sweet. That's my rationale. And you can fight me on it. We're not going to play this. This card is too easy. You know, we want to make the game harder for ourselves. Let's see. We're not really cloud shifting, that's for sure. Dispel will play. I'm a big fan of Dispel. It's just fun for me. Just fun for me. Oh, you know, we have to play Immersion Skate because that's Rebound too. Alright, so we'll cut some counter spells. We'll cut the, like, these devoted ones. The ones that only target creatures. We'll leave, like, the 2 all-purpose ones in there because it's good to have some interaction like that. Okay. Anyway. We're not ephemerating. Yeah, Revelation of Power. This one makes a creature. That's my train of thought there. Alright, let's see. Oh, you know it's a great one? I think we'll get to it, but Homestead Courage. This card's beating. So what this card does is it gives a creature a 1/1 counter and gives it vigilance, and it flashes back. It's just 1 mana each time. This card is sick. I love that card. You know what we should also play? Is Wind Rider Wizard and Academy Wall. And then we should also play Will of, because these are both going to loot us more, Will of the Naga, we talked about before, and Treasure Cruise. Will of the Naga, where are you? Let's look at this guy one more time, Will of the Naga. 6 mana, instant, delve. Tap up to 2 target creatures they don't untap. This card is going to kill. All these cards kill people. That's what people don't know. I have a hard time understanding that all these cards, they just will kill people. Alright, anyway, we're back. We're back on it. Let's see. Jailbreak Scheme is cool. Jump Scare. +2/+2 flying. That's just like better than Arrestor Zeal. Alright. Maybe I'll have to cut it, Arrestor Zeal for Jump Scare. I've been made a fool of. Yeah, let's get a tune-up look at it. So we got the Wind Rider Wizard, we got the Academy Wall, right? Yeah, okay. Maximize Altitude's pretty good. come back to that. I want to get some more white cards. I'm leaning way hard into the blue cards because I love all the blue cards. They're in every single, like, I just play blue decks like this all the time, so I know all the blue cards really well. But I'm not as familiar with the white cards. I want to make sure that we represent, you know. Have to do right by our friends, by our white mages. None of these are very good. Stave off is cool, but you know, whatever, you know. Stand firm is sweet. Just 1/1 scry too. You know what I'll probably play is like Unsummon, Vapor Snag. Let's put those in here. Let's get that out of the way. If that's like some removal spells, obviously you know me. I like to trim back on interaction where I can. But you gotta have some stuff. Let's do also into the no. Let's do. No, we're not going to do disappearances. Let's just do Into the Royal and Blink of an Eye. I like these cards. Into the Royal. Blink of an Eye. Okay. That felt good. Voicener's another cool one. It's just a sorcery result. 1 mana, return an on-land permanent. You know what? These cards, I've decided. Blink of an Eye and Into the Royal, too expensive. 2 mana? No thanks. Where are you? Where are you? There we go. We're gonna play Void Snare. I like removal at sorcery speed because you know, having to make the choice to commit to using your resources on your turn. That's what you know separates the real adults from the children. You know. All right, I gotta let Ollie out. He's complaining at me. All right, dude. Go. And we're done. And we're back. Apostles Blessing. Let's see. This one investigates. That's pretty cool. Center Soul. Oh yeah, that's just like Emergent Scathe. Let's play that. I'll reevaluate like our protection speed in a minute. Because if I'm doing this, and let's not play Dispel. Emergent Scathe and Center Soul, just the rebound stuff. Rebound is cool because you get to cast the stuff again. And I like that. It's thematic. That's what we want. We want a cool deck that feels good. It's got to feel good. Yeah, Come to River's good. Come to River's good. It's just all the 2 mana ones. Guided Strike is first strike. I like that. First strike is sick. Let's put a Guided Strike in here. Let's do that. Oh, we have to have the 3-bin Trump, don't we? It's just the coolest white card ever printed, so we just have to. It just has to be in there. This is where we're not going to find a ton of good stuff once you get into like 2-3 mana. There's another one of these, but we already have enough of those, I think. We don't want to overload on this stuff. We got a lot going on. Revelation of Power. Lifelink is good. Let's play Revelation of Power. Obviously, it's like only good with our commander, but that's the thing about having an A-B combo where, you know, A is in your command zone. It's all of a sudden much more reasonable. Shelter. It's not a protection spell. I don't want so much protection though. What do we have as far as protection? We've got this, 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 like these two sort of. Let's just cut the counter spells then. If we find like good protection spells outside of like stupid blacksmiths galore and escape, we've got what, like 4? That's fine. Let's put a shelter in here. And draws us a card. I like shelter. Shelter's cool. Just keep in mind, like, our priority is not to just like force through our steamroller. It's to have a game of magic. A game of magic. Flying counter. This card's good. And you scry. So we get 2 scries, a flying counter, a 1/1 counter. That's pretty cool. Pretty neat. Okay, this is where we're probably not going to want anything else. We're going to get some proliferate stuff too, possibly, like maybe 1 or 2. Maybe, I don't know. It's pretty, it's like halfway appealing, you know. Yeah, let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. Let's blow this popsicle stand. We're just gonna go back, back, back. Oh, hello. A little too far there. Let's see what proliferate stuff we have. There's not a ton. Experimental augury I think is good, because we do want to be able to find some cards. We'll play like some cheap cantrips. Oh, we're already at 96. Okay, so we're a lot closer than I thought. Maybe we don't need this. Maybe we don't need that. Okay, let's see. So we're at 96 cards. I like all of these. These cards are all pretty sweet. And they all like do something, which is good. Oh, you know what? No. I was going to say Elk Out Shimley, but that just gives something hexproof. We're not really looking to do that right now. I think it's important that people are able to interact with this card. I think it makes for better games, honestly. If your thing dies once or twice and you have to rebuild it, there's a lot of really good tension there. I think it's we're like, this is not a deck that's designed to take down a tournament. You know, like, this is just a deck for casual social play to have fun, and I think in that regard, I think it's okay to have our commander die. Honestly, I think it's better that way. What am I missing? 20? Are there any, like... What else do we have that has a rebound? A bunch of stuff. Nothing that, like... Oh, Tygam Strike. But, yeah. Oh, yeah, Tygam Strike, and there is a... shoot, what's it called? Stealth Mission? These cards are awesome. These cards overperform for me every time. Stealth Mission is 3 mana sorcery, put 2/1 counters on something and it's unblockable. Tygam Strike gives +2/+0 and unblockable, and it rebounds. A lot of ways to like force our guy through, and like a lot of opportunities for opponents to be able to interact. Let's cut this Remedy. It's kind of awkward. We already have like Redeem. Yeah, that's why like I've kind of like stuck to it with like Center Soul with Rebound, Immersion Scathe with Rebound. You know, you definitely want them to just do something else rather than just like host people. That's the great thing like about commons is I talk about this a lot. Like, I mean, I've gone many places and talked about the format with many people, and the thing that I always come back to is that the redundancy of these effects is great. And if you want to pack like 1,000,000 protection spells in here, like if we're playing like Illuminator Virtuoso, right, like a mono white like Spellslinger Voltron deck, you just pack as many of these things in there as you can because it's the only threat you have, and that's great. There's tons of those, but when you're kind of narrowing it down for a particular deck, like whatever you're doing, you can look for these textures here. Like, these cards have Rebound. There's other protection spells that scry. There's other protection spells that give 1/1 counters. There's a lot of different ways that you can kind of tailor your protection suite to fit what you want to do and how you want your deck to play. And I think in this deck, we want cards like Center Soul, Immersion, Scathe. Shelter is just like a good one that cantrips, which is what we want to be doing. And I had oh yeah, in Johnny's presence that we can Strive. Speaking of which, Strive is a mechanic that's pretty cool. How good would that be? Because I already have like a lot of evasive threats. Equipment. Absolutely not, under no circumstances. This is an instant and sorceries deck, okay? I'm offended. Well, instant. I'm looking for just cards that care about instants. Well, intent. That's not what I want to do either. Instant. Let's see. Any cool things in here? Not really. Oh, we'll play Send to Sleep. That's a good interactive spell. So we got 97. I want to add some white cards. I want to bump up our white spell count. What are we at? 6834. Not so bad, but let's look for some white cards here. Oh, whoops. Okay. I'm just looking for some white instants. See what kind of flavors we have here. Indestructible, like Pump Spells is great. Ooh, Aerial Boost is pretty cool because it's Convoke. I like that. +1/+1 flying First Strike. First Strike is a mechanic that people take for granted. It always plays much better than it reads. Battlefield Promotion. Oh, we'll do plus Hippogriff is good because this gives our creature evasion and it's a protection spell. We'll do that. And 4 or 5 protection spells in a 100 card deck is not bad at all. Blessed Hippogriff. Some amount of what? Oh, that's a good idea. What adventure spells do we have? Underwhelming. Underwhelming. What are the blue ones? Better, but underwhelming. I like Queen of Ice, honestly. Freezes a thing and then keeps freezing stuff, but it's kind of outside the, that's for Sorcery. Sea Hack. Look at this. 2 creatures can't be blocked when there's a battlefield. Makes all your opponent's things little. Let's put a Sea Hag in here. I played a lot of these cards when I played like Mischievous Catgeist. It's a lot of like similar sorts of effects. I had a thought and then I immediately lost it. Disturb. These are auras, but they're also creatures. Lantern Bear. There's a couple white ones. I got one for 1 card. I might just do like Kindly Ancestor. It's a lifelink aura. I don't really care about that. We're not going to do that. Never mind. Forget it. Forget it. I need 1 card, and I want it to be a white card. I would like it for it to be a white card. I'm going to look at some white. Go back to the white instance. And let's start at the 1 mana slot here. Because that's where I live and breathe, the 1 mana value spot. There's a lot of these, like gives a creature +1/+ whatever and untaps it. Not what I'm in the market for, but it's a cool effect. It's good in like Illuminator Virtuoso where you just need to double strike people down and you have to give a flying. This one's pretty good because it's versatile. Light of Hope. I like Light of Hope actually. Modal spells I really quite enjoy. It'll probably be that, honestly, now that I think about it. I don't think there's anything else at like 1 or 2 mana that appeals to me in the same way that Light of Hope does. Yeah. We've seen a bunch of these already. Suppose, yeah, these cards are good. Like, I suppose Evil Feeling of Dread. Like, I feel like I'm a broken record talking about cards that tap creatures, but very good. That's why like Ardenvale Tactician is like one of my favorite white creatures, just because the adventure taps 2 things and you get a 2/3 flyer on the back end. Again, it just messes people up. I've got Revelation of Power, Shelter, Skillful Lunge, +2/+0 first strike. I like first strike on the 1 mana, or the cantrip one. I like the +1/+0 first strike draw card. That card's pretty cool, but this one's interesting. Over Stirring Address. 6 mana gives you all your stuff +2/+2. Take up the shield. Oh, Blinding Beam. That's a cool one. I don't know how many of y'all played Limited, like when, like like Dark Steel, like Mirrodin block, but I did, and Blinding Beam was out of this world. Yeah, now we're up to like 3 mana cards, and I want something. Prismatic Strain's nothing bad, that's for sure. But you know what? I don't care about that. We're just going. Yeah, let's play Light of Hope. Light of Hope is a good one because it does the offense, it does the defense. Okay, so we got 24 creatures, 12 sorceries, 28 instants. Yeah, this is good, and like some really great proactive stuff. Let's fix our lands real quick, and then we'll like goldfish a couple hands. Sorry, I do things the old boomer way, the elder millennial way here, which is to say the most inefficient way possible, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I want most of my lands to enter untapped is the bottom line here, so I'm not going to play very many like tap lands. We're playing a 2-color deck, so like color balance ain't going to be that bad, especially because we're going to be cantripping into a bunch of stuff. Like Hidden Grotto, like these cards that surveil lands are going to be good. Crystal Grotto, Crystal Groot, it's close. Crystal Grotto and Conduit Pylons. Just like anything that lets us fill to the top of our library, because we're going to be going balls to the wall. We want our lands to do that instead of our spells when we can. You know, like just every little bit helps. And then we'll do Opal Palace. And we'll do Study Hall, because I expect our commander to die. The deck is kind of built with that in mind. We're not playing Mystic Sanctuary, fuck that. This ain't that kind of deck. Honestly, like, I don't really care about any of these other lands, if I'm being honest. I mean, whatever. How many humans do we have? This is probably, like, Path of Ancestry is probably worth it, right? So we've got human soldiers. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 creatures. Yeah, that's good enough. We'll do Path. Alright. So now we cut land. Let's see, we got pretty big disparity there. So what we'll do is we'll go +1, -1, +1, -1, +1, -1. Where does that put us? 6649. It's probably good. Well, actually, we'll just add 1 here, take 1 more down, and we'll do 1 more. Because our blue pips are going to be pretty taxed. That should be fine. In fact, I'm just going to add 1 of those. Oh, hello. Okay, and now we just want to go down to 6. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. Okay, so percentages are like okay. So we got like some colorless lands. These filter, so you know, not the worst. We may need to cut some of these down a little bit. Probably, let's cut the Scry one. We'll add another island. I'd rather just have another untapped blue source instead of a Scry land. The surveillance are strictly better. So let's try that. Not a lot of white sources, but yeah. Do that. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll just go to play deal in hand. We'll just close right here. Randomize a hand. And then play test. Sand seems fine. I'd like another creature though. All right, so we're gonna keep this. We've got lands. We've got two cantrips to buff our guy, a couple of free scries, protection spell, and just like an offensive spell that we'll be able to fuel out once we cast these. This is like not great in our opening hand, but it's not the worst either. So we're gonna draw for turn. Hidden Strings is fantastic. We're just gonna play land pass. I'm just gonna run it out on turn 2. I'm not scared. What are they gonna do? All right, that's pretty good. So what we'll do here is we can just go boop, and it's turn 3. No one's got anything. We'll just Defiant Strike this. So we'll add a counter, make it a 3/3. We'll scry 1. We'll keep Winged Rider on top because I like that. Let's go to the graveyard, and we'll punch him for 4. Post combat, we'll cast this guy. We'll draw Winged Rider, play an island, cast Winged Rider. Watch this. Go combat, boom. We'll leap him. Counter, boom, boom. Prowess creature. No, this is going to the bottom. I should actually be another card deep as well from the draw card. I didn't resolve that. Okay, and we draw a card from this. Okay, so now we're back on track. Now this is like what I was talking about earlier, where you have 2 heroic creatures. Cards like Hidden Strings get really, really good. So this is pretty decent. We've got 2 pieces of protection, this guy hanging out, and like an extra creature in our back pocket. So what we'll do here is, this is sorcery, so we'll just cast Hidden Strings, and we'll just untap. So counter, scry 1, keep Ghost Form on top, cipher this onto the Winged Rider because that's evasion, and we'll go attack. Deal damage. We'll untap this, counter. And we can cast both protection spells this turn if we want to. This seem good to anybody else? Just me? Yeah, this is exactly what we want to be doing. And then we have this thing that we can interact with. Hidden Strings. Okay, everybody. Just read this card. This card is insane in every deck that I play it in. It's one of the best blue spells in the format. You can quote me on that. It does so much. The floor on it is so high, and the ceiling is just astronomical. The different applications this card has. Like, all the cipher spells are great, and I love them all, but this is by far, my favorite one. And if I die being the loudest voice in the room for Hidden Strings, then I'll die a happy man. Alright. This is a 1-lander. We're going to send this one back. Alright, this is better. Got a 1-drop. Got a... Oh, yeah, this is good. So what we're going to do is we're going to start... We've got some creatures. We've got an Emboldened, so we can just, like, spread targets. Target our Trailblazer and Hoplite when time comes. And draw for turn. Got Plains. Got Trailblazer. Wonderful. Next turn, I'm going to play our Commander. And then by turn 3, we're pretty well set up to start going here. What we'll probably do is just not jump the gun quite yet, but we'll set up one more. We'll play a Wind Rider Wizard out, and maybe just hang back a little bit. And then now, what we'll do is we will, with Unsummoned backup, like we can protect our things or bounce something offensively, we'll just cast Embolden. And we have a trigger here to draw and then discard. So let's get rid of this. Don't really want that. But Revelation of Power is sick. So we'll do 1/1. I guess I should scry before I do the draw discard, but whatever. I'm going to scry, put this on the bottom. Yeah. And then, we can just attack, whatever. Next turn, we've got even more options because we have this Revelation of Power. So what we'll do is we'll just flash this thing back, and we'll, target. We'll scry. That's good. But you know what? I'm goldfishing. I don't have an opponent, so we're going to put this on the bottom. Because I don't need it. Why do I need to interact with an opponent that doesn't exist? And we'll draw and discard. That's great. And let's get rid of this Academy wall. Don't need that. We've got the Wind Rider Wizard. Um, we'll go boom, 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 boom. Revelation of Power. We'll give this thing +2/+2 against flying lifelink. So we'll go 4, 8, 10 damage here. And it gets another counter. Oh, and then we have Redeem. Yeah, so like you see how important it is that we have cards that target multiple things. Otherwise, we just feel like jamming stuff onto a Battlewise Hoplite and we have a 0/4 that does nothing. Because now what we can do is, with this mana, we can redeem, just like proactively. You don't even like, it just, you know, triggers, you know. And each one of these is going to trigger this too. So let's scry. I can go on the bottom. I don't need an extra land right now. And we'll draw. Don't really care about this. Discard. Then we can, you know, combat whatever, you know, whatever they don't block. We can Define Strike this. You know, we'll scribe. We're gonna keep that one on top. You know, draw, discard, draw for this. Play land. Now we're just like jamming damage. Yeah, this is exactly kind of how you drew it up, or how I drew it up anyway. How we drew it up together as a team, right? But yeah, so like, just to kind of bring it back home, we got a couple minutes left here. Kind of everything that we covered with this kind of a deck, you know, it's really important that you keep in mind, like, the fundamental truth of any heroic commander you play is that it ties back into the idea that, like, your commander is going to be the most powerful card in your deck. It's an uncommon, the rest of your deck is commons, and odds are your commander is going to be way more valuable, do a lot more, pull a lot more weight. And when you're playing a heroic deck, you're just going to be targeting this. So you have to be careful, like, you're either going like all in on this, or you're playing cards like I am here to like spread things around, like target 2 things at once, get a lot of value that way. It's really important that you do that, as we saw in that last hand, right? Like, just like targeting, like putting multiple counters on things every turn, just like growing every turn. It just gives you so much more pressure. Like, these prevention spells are really, really good for that. Like Embolden, Pollen Remedy, like those sorts of things. Even Tandem Tactics, like, this card is really good. Like, +1/+2 is a lot better than you think. You gain a little life, but you just get triggers. You know, I wish I could have shown like Wavecrash Triton, because you can just ask Brad Drek V, who we spoke of earlier about, you know, Seeker of the Way. This is his favorite Prowess card ever printed. This one is mine. I am a huge Wavecrash Triton fan. I've killed so many people with this card, you will not believe. Just like freezing stuff is busted. That's why like Will of the Naga is so good. Yeah, we get like free treasure cruise, but you kind of get the idea here. This sort of deck can be very, very powerful. Obviously, like, it's really tough to calibrate in casual because you don't want your thing to be an unstoppable juggernaut. You want games that actually are games and feel like games. And I think if you follow a lot of the formula that we did here, you're much more inclined to get that. Like, you saw that last game, you know, we're attacking with like not insurmountable threats, right? Like a 5/5 and 4/6. But they're mostly on the ground. Like, maybe one of them will fly, one of them will have evasion one turn or another, but it's not like this sort of insurmountable cascading advantage that just you can't contend with. I think that's like a big part of it, is just understanding, you know, how the other players are going to react to what you're doing. And I think that if you kind of go this route, you kind of get a really good shot for a more well-rounded game than if you just tried to blow them up, you know. So that's that. I think we landed in a really good space here. As always, like, the link to the deck list is going to be in the video description, along with the bookmark to all the other decks that we've done so far. There's my bookmarks. I've got my Precons bookmarks. I've got my Stream Brews bookmarks. These are the 8 that we've done so far. They're all here. I haven't touched them since we've done them. They're all in their original state. So like always, you know, grab them, mess around with them, do what you will. These are for you, not me. Next week, so this was a suggestion in Azorius deck from Steven, Battles Hoplite in particular. A lot of the other suggestions were Selesnya. So next week we're going to do a Selesnya deck. I already have a commander in mind. I'm just going to kind of make sure that there's a deck there before we build it next week. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. 7:59. I'm cool winding it down here. Thank you all for coming and hanging out, as always. I really like this deck. I hope you all do too, and I'll see you all next week for some Selesnya. I'm promising. I'm saying it for the record. Selesnya. We're doing Selesnya next week, okay? Good night, everybody. I'm done now.